This recipe, I'm making chicken stock from scratch, and it's going to be cooked to the level of bone broth. So really, bone broth is just about how far you've cooked down the bones when you're making stock from meat or from chicken in this case. And just a warning that I am going to be using chicken carcasses in this video to make the stock. So I've got hold of 3 chicken carcasses, and I'm going to be cooking a big batch of stock using those. And I'll also be reducing it down a bit so that I can get it into the freezer without taking up a whole shelf. So let's do it. Let's show you how I make chicken stock in the Instant Pot Duo Crisp. Okay, so we're going to make this chicken stock with the Instant Pot Duo Crisp, and I'm going to start it, as I'm making a rich stock, by browning the chicken carcasses. So I've got 3 uncooked chicken carcasses here, which I've got from my organic meat supplier, and this is just what's left over when they carve off the breasts and thighs, ready for people who want the kind of chicken portions. And what I'm doing is putting all of these, in this first experiment anyway, into the air fryer basket. And I'm going to brown these off. Now, you don't necessarily need to brown the carcasses, but I want to make quite a rich stock, and I quite like it when they've got that bit of roast flavour to them. So normally I would just make chicken stock directly in the Instant Pot without any browning of these, but as I've got the crisp, here's another bit of flexibility it can give us. So I can use the same pot and put this on. It's quite energy saving because it's a very small space to heat, so it's much more frugal than putting the whole oven on just in order to make some chicken stock. So I'm going to put these on, and I'll probably check them after 20 minutes. I'll put it on for 30, and then we'll just see how it goes. So the Instant Pot Duo Crisp is just like an oven really. You can lift the lid, put it down again, and you can change the timing as you go along, so it doesn't need to be a perfect recipe. So there's the chicken carcasses just directly in the air fryer basket, and let's set it away. Air fry, click start, off we go, and I'll see you later. Okay, so we are now at 25 minutes, and I would say that that is plenty of browning. So we're ready to go to the next stage. So out comes the air fryer basket. That worked really well. I'd say 3 is the absolute limit in terms of chicken carcasses. And I didn't add any extra oil, but you can see that we've got lots of goodness in there. And of course, we're going to use exactly the same bowl for making our stock. So the air fryer function is now off. We've got all of these juices and fat rendered in the bottom. So I'm going to now add the rest of the ingredients. Now, what we want to avoid is getting the burn error in the Instant Pot. So I'm just checking this now. And what I'm going to do is add my very first ingredient, which is about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. And I'm adding this for 2 purposes. One is to help release everything from the bones, and then 2, I'm going to use it to just give a quick deglaze of this pot now. It doesn't need to be perfect, but if you've got an area where there's a burnt bit, you may get a burn notice on the Instant Pot. It's unlikely with this recipe because we're using so much water, but let's better be safe than sorry, because we're going to be leaving this on for hours on end. So now we've deglazed the pan, so I'm just going to add the rest of my ingredients. And I want this stock to be really all about the chicken. So often I'll use veggies, but in this case, I'm going to use a very limited amount of aromatics. So I'm using about 5 peppercorns. I'm going to add 2 shallots, and that one's got 2 cloves in it. Just give a little bit of extra aromatic. And then I'm going to use some bay leaf and some fresh thyme from the garden. And you can use dried herbs in this too, of course. Just use what you've got. And then I'm going to put the chicken carcasses back into the pan now so I can see how much water to add. There we are, nice browned chicken carcass. So I'm using the Instant Pot Duo Crisp here, and that has got an 8-litre pot, which gives us lots of space to do batch cooking. And you never want to fill the Instant Pot more than 3/4 of the way, which is, we're just about there now. So that's it. So now we're putting on the pressure cooker lid, and we're going to set it on pressure cook high for 3 hours. So now we'll leave the Instant Pot to do its thing. It will take some time to get to pressure, so it'll be longer than 3 hours to cook. And then I'm going to let it natural pressure release, as it'll take quite some time to come back down from pressure with the amount of liquid in there. So let's leave the Instant Pot to do its thing. Okay, so the little weight has dropped, so we know that natural pressure release is complete. So let's have a look and see what we've got. There we go. So the smell of that is just amazing. And yes, so you can see here that the bones and stuff are starting to dissolve and fall apart. So what we need to do now is to remove all of the bones and the herbs, the aromatics, and end up with a nice stock, which I will probably just reduce down a little, again taking advantage of the Instant Pot. So let's drain this, and for the first drain I'm just going to use a colander. Don't forget to put a bowl underneath, don't let all that stock run down the sink. That leaves us with this semi-strained stock, and now I'm going to just give this a second strain. And there is our beautiful chicken stock. Gorgeous. Now you could use this just as is, but because I'm going to store it, what I'm going to do now is take advantage of the Instant Pot yet again, and I'm going to let some of this liquid boil off so we get a more concentrated form, which will be easier for storage. So once again, let's just leave the Instant Pot to do its thing. Okay, so that's been boiling down for 20 minutes and we've now reduced it substantially. So I think that's going to be plenty. And now we just turn off the Instant Pot and let it completely cool. So to cool it more quickly for storage, I've decanted it into a more open, shallow, cold bowl and a little bit extra into the jug. And now we can leave that to cool. And a quick tip, never put this hot stock into the fridge, because what it's going to do is to warm up the rest of the fridge, which could cause bacterial contamination. Wait until it's completely cold before you pack away into the fridge or indeed the freezer. So it's the next morning and I've now got plenty of chicken stock ice cubes to get us through lots of recipes coming up. So I hope you give this one a go and get some chicken stock into your freezer too. So if you like this video, please subscribe and press that notification bell, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. So I'll see you next time.